We're very excited to welcome a special guest on the JMU Sports News YouTube channel, a Pro Football Hall of Famer, College Football Hall of Famer, Charles Haley. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Hey guys, thank you for having me. Go Dukes.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you on. Obviously, your career at JMU was incredible, and then the 5 Super Bowl rings as well, pretty impressive. I'm curious, just to start, what are you up to these days as somebody who had an incredibly long and successful playing career? What's life like nowadays?
Well, my purpose now is my foundation, Tackle Tomorrow, helping inner city kids learn to read at grade level. So that is my purpose right now.
That's awesome. Yeah. I do want to take a look, kind of go back through the years a little bit and walk us through. How did you find your way to JMU? I know you were an recruited kid coming out of Gladys, Virginia. Apologies if I'm mispronouncing that hometown, but how'd you find your way to JMU? How'd you get connected with them and then end up playing for the Dukes for 4 years?
Hey, Coach Wilmer came down and he saw me and my brother playing, and JMU sent me a notice that they wanted to recruit me, but the guidance counselor never told me. And then I met Coach Wilmer. So we had 2 interviews. My brother, they gave me and my brother a scholarship. My brother didn't take it. So, but Liberty Baptist and JMU was the only ones that offered me a scholarship.
It's crazy. It's hard hard to believe given how everything turned out. When you got to JMU, I'm curious, did you realize kind of right away what your potential was? And then what was it like with the coaches realizing that, oh, they might have, an FCS, one double A at the time, All-American on their hands?
I, I was 160 pounds walking into JMU, so I don't know what they were thinking. I think the coach was he was thinking, a year, build them up with strength, and then play. But I asked him. I said, Coach McMillan. I said, am I going to get a chance to fight for the starting job? And he kept giving me these excuses about me being. I need some weight. I need to put on weight. I need to lift. And then I asked him again. He said, yes, you'll get a chance. And that's all I wanted was the opportunity. And because I told him I don't sit on people's benches.
How much weight did you put on like at your freshman season? If you're walking into JMU 160, you then are a freshman starter, right? You finish your JMU career at least with 506 tackles or some absurd number. What weight did you get to before you ended up playing kind of on a consistent basis at JMU?
I think I got to 180. I got to 180 my freshman year. By the time I graduated, I was at 200 pounds. I went into the NFL at 200 pounds.
Gotcha. What'd you end up getting to, I guess, when you were playing with the 49ers and Cowboys? Was it similar to that, or you
Um,
yeah.
no, they made me put on 25 pounds at the 49ers. So I played pretty much between 225 and 230. Um, it ain't about the size of the dog. It's the fight in the dog.
What was it like playing at JMU during that era? I think you said with Coach McMillan, everything like that. He's kind of revered as this legendary coach for JMU. What was it like playing under him and at JMU at that time?
Hey, he was the greatest. He was one of the greatest coaches I ever had. And he was a phenomenal man. He was a man of honor, a man of his word. He told my mom I was going to graduate, and that was the hardest thing I ever did in my life because he kept his foot, even though he got fired, he kept his foot on top of my neck to make sure that I graduate. So that's the character of who Charles McMillan is. The other thing that I loved about JMU was is back then all the students used to be up on that hill watching the game, and it used to remind me back in Gladys where there was only 5 rows or 6 rows of bleachers, and but everybody else was on the bank watching the game cheering. And it just made me feel like I was still back at home.
Awesome. What was it like, I guess, your playing career at JMU? Because you made that instant impact, and then your last 3 years, you were well over 100 tackles. I know you're playing special teams and had blocked punts. What was it like to become sort of an immediate impact player and obviously one of the best players they've had ever go through the program?
Hey, I'm not gonna lie to you. You know what? All I want to do is graduate. I never thought about going into the NFL. I never thought that was part of my journey. I just wanted to graduate because I didn't want to go back to Gladys. I wanted to get able to get a good job and move somewhere, but not back home. And so that was my purpose. That was my dream, and that was my motivation. Is to just move on. And I wanted to be the first one in our family to graduate from college.
So you end up doing that, and then on top of it, you're drafted in what, the fourth round of the NFL draft. Is that just the cherry on top to that experience?
Yeah, but what made me mad about the whole deal was is that the 49ers calling me round two saying, we're going to draft you, we're going to draft you. And then it goes by, they didn't draft me. And then when the third round came, they kept saying, okay, I kept getting a call saying that we're going to draft you, we're going to draft you. Third round went. And so me and my wife went to the movie theater to watch a movie. And my best friend, James Harrison, come down yelling that, I got drafted. And so I finished my movie and then I came up and gave the 49ers a call.
Do you remember what movie that was?
I probably Friday the 13th was some scary movie that I don't do scary movies, but she does. And so, you gotta, sometimes you gotta bite the bullet. All I did was keep my head down the whole time.
That's hilarious. And then you become a pretty quick impact player for the 49ers. I know you mentioned that at college it wasn't sort of an expected journey to get to the NFL. When did you realize that, oh, my skills are going to translate well to the NFL level and I'm going to be able to, make an impact for this Super Bowl contender?
You know what? I when I look back over that journey, I just remember Joe Montana, Roger, Jerry Rice, Ronnie Lott, some of the great leaders on the team. They were just playing with me, joking me. I had no clue who these guys were. It took me to the first preseason game to look. The first preseason game. All those young guys play. So I was looking at the program, and I started seeing these guys' names on there, Joe, Jerry Rice, and I started flipping the page, and I'm going like, wow. So then I had to get up to make sure that that was the same person, and had no idea how great these guys were. And Bill Walsh, he was phenomenal, man. He he made the biggest impact of me when I got there. He was just great. He was a true genius. He was the first guy I watched um, go to the sideline and on the dirt, right out a play, and then Joe go in and do it and score a touchdown. So that's what I was dealing with, and I was so proud.
You had a pretty good list of coaches you played with: Bill Walsh, Jimmy Johnson, McMillan at JMU. How important were the coaches throughout your entire career, both high school into college, into the NFL, in shaping you as a player and as a person to what you became?
Yeah, well, I don't ever look at the coaches in high school because I only had negative things going there. College was the first time that I started feeling like people were treating me as an equal, and then but every coach puts something inside of you. Coach McMillan, he taught me to be in control, be your own man. Um, Coach Walsh taught me how to see the game and to visualize um, what you're gonna do, and then Jimmy Johnson was more of a dictator type guy, and a micro. And George Seifert was a micromanager. So, and then Barry Switzer was a players coach. So each head coach put something inside of me to help transform me into the man I am today.
So you had mentioned earlier that it's not about the size of the dog, but the fight of the size in the dog. I was reading some stories about you this morning, and by all accounts, you're a great leader, but you're also highly competitive player. Is that something that came naturally to you? And what was it like that sort of brought out that competitive fire in you? It certainly seemed like it was a key part of your NFL career.
Well, when you grow up poor, you fight for everything, and then you realize that the only way to keep something, you have to take something. I took my job. Nobody ever gave me my job. So in order to keep my job, I got to go out and ball, and I got to take care of my family. So I had a lot of reasons to go out and dominate because I wanted to take care of my family. I want to get raises, and always, Coach Mack said, yesterday is gone. What you gonna do today? And that stuck with me. And so um, I always just felt like, I'm not doing enough. So that hunger and thirst drove me to greatness.
My last question here is with being picked in the fourth round, going to the 49ers, playing at JMU at 1 AA, becoming a 1 AA All-American, but being at a movie theater when you figure out that you're drafted, right? Did that give you a chip on your shoulder heading into the NFL that you were able to use for the rest of your career? Or did you not really need that chip?
I don't need chips. I don't need motivation. I don't need exterior motivation to be great. I have that drive inside of me. God gave me, passion, and He gave me the will to overcome. And when my mama told me when I was young that she beat Jesus Christ inside of me, but she said one day you're gonna let him out. And then when you let him out, and you know the word of God, you realize that some of the greatest men was my hero, King David. Hey, he killed everything in sight, man. And he was ruthless. And he was my hero. I just wanted to be like him, giant killers, So whatever got in front of me, I just thought about what he did. And then, I just felt like, maybe I can just achieve just a little bit of that.
I know you still follow the Cowboys at least a decent amount. I was curious how much you follow JMU and the 49ers and all the teams you've played for. What's that like nowadays in terms of keeping track with those teams?
Well, I follow all of it. I go to this bar that has all the schools and stuff. So then I get to now I can get it. It's easier to get now, but yeah, I always keep my eye on JMU, knowing what's going on, and I'm gonna try to make it back a couple times this year to be a part of the celebration because what they're doing is phenomenal, and they keep getting better year after year. Cowboys and 49ers, I'm a part of the alumni, so I hang out with these guys, and I fly to California a lot too. So I live in Texas, so I just drive over there. That's where I'm at now. Is over at the Cowboys facility, hanging out.
Awesome. That's pretty impressive. What's it like to see JV? You mentioned the rise from 1 AA when you were there. People are sitting on the hill to now they've got this 25,000 seat stadium. They're talking about expanding and they're playing at the FBS level. What's that been like to watch from afar?
Oh, no, I came down. And I'm going like, wait a minute. They had money back then when I'm playing. Why y'all don't build? Hey, I was going like, if you build, they'll come. So JMU, the campus is phenomenal. Any recruit that comes up and go through that campus, they are lost. It ain't, I know money right now is part of the deal, but if you go, hey man, I tell everybody, nobody can beat our campus, and our school is rated, top of the line, and I'm so proud to be able to say I'm a JMU graduate, and I played for the greatest team, JMU Dukes, and I, we're putting a lot of players into the NFL, and and we got a lot of players who won Super Bowls, and some that lost a few of them, but we're a family, and that family is strong.
Awesome. Last question for me. I was curious, obviously your career on the playing field has been incredible, but after retirement, you've been really open about your mental health journey, which I think has helped a lot of people. And you mentioned your purpose now, your mission now being your foundation. I guess when did that become sort of your mission, and what's it been like to focus on that after your playing career?
Well, my foundation is, growing up as a kid, when you just get passed forward, you don't get the basic skills of reading, and then all that's there, instead of learning to read, you read to learn. And that leaves a bad taste in my mouth, and I don't want kids to have to go through that journey. But I do a lot of talking with kids about mental illness, and I do platforms on it because I just want everybody to know that, if you just find one thing to live for, then you won't commit suicide. Mine is that my relationship with Jesus Christ. If I hurt myself, I can't have that relationship. But everybody needs to pick one thing that they believe in, and hold on to it for truth, because the journey I went through, it was tough. I lost everything. People kept telling me I could get off on the 11th floor, but I went all the way down to the basement. But at the end, God picked me up. He gave me back what I've lost, and I'm stronger for it. And I take my medication every day. It's just like taking heart medicine or high blood pressure. So there's no excuses. We have to stop being con men, con women, and take ownership. Because the moment we take ownership, stop saying we're bipolar or we got PTSD, we have a mental illness. Once you start saying we have a mental illness, then you can make a change. And society, they frown upon it. My family don't want me to say I have a mental illness, but you know what? The only way I can help somebody is giving it away and letting them know the pain that I went through, the things that I've lost, and that they don't have to make that same journey.
Yeah, your story on the field, off it is super inspiring. I think that's all I've got, Jack. But I know we are super excited to talk to you, and great to hear that you're still following the Dukes, and obviously you helped lay the foundation for what they've become today.
Hey, we all laid it, with blood, sweat, and tears, and I just want to go Dukes.